You ready, Madam Clerk?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it is 10:30, Wednesday, January 3rd, 2024. We'll call this meeting to order. We're here to discuss grant proposals, i.e. fire mitigation. What have you got for us, Phil?
So right now I'm working on a MOU, or the paperwork to get the MOU for the grant that we were supposed to get earlier last year in 2023. I don't know if it was the Forest Service or the state of Idaho released the money, and now we're at the point where we're doing the budget, and all the paperwork to get an MOU in place so we can get it signed and have an agreement between the county and the Idaho Department of Lands. So, and I don't think I've discussed this with this group. I had with previous commissioners. And I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page so that when it comes time to sign that MOU, there is no
Surprises.
So, this is basically the first round of paperwork we do. And what it is where we do the decision on indirect costs, the budget, how we're going to spend this grant. And then with in each piece of that, then I have to go in and explain how we're going to do that. So the indirect costs are pretty self-explanatory. Right now, the county has an agreement with the Idaho Department of Lands that if we do indirect costs, it's 10% of the grant. So with this grant being $195,000, our indirect costs would be $19,500. And then from that, then we do our budget. Like if I'm going to take wages out of this, if we're going to take other expenses out of this grant, like supplies, anything to do with the office, any type of office stuff, that kind of thing. The one thing with this grant, since it's a hazardous fuels grant, there is no match. We don't have to come up with what would it be? It'd be about $40,000 that we'd have to come up with for this. Well, not quite that much. Take that back.
But we don't have to in this case.
We don't have to with this grant.
Yeah.
Okay. So what you need from the board today is just that we're on board with you moving forward with this MOU.
Right, and then I do have what I used. The way it was I did all the paperwork. I signed everything but the MOU.
Okay.
And that had to be the commissioner sign that because basically you're responsible for it, and that it's being spent according to the MOU.
Right. Okay.
After this is, after I do this batch, this group of papers, then we get the drug and all the other stuff that we have to abide by through the federal monies. Drug-free, harassment, all that stuff.
Right.
And since I'm the one that deals with the contractors directly, and the only way you usually see them is if they come into the office and want to check, or if they have a problem with me, they might come and talk to you. But so I just sign those and send them back that we're doing all this, the drug-free workplace, the harassment-free workplace, all that type of work.
Okay.
The only other piece I have somebody else sign it is usually any of the financial papers, like for W-9, anything to deal with the county. I usually send to Tammy to have her fill it out and sign it. So, and the one thing I did is I put that last page there is just some numbers I put together on how some things break down and how if you take some things out, how it affects the amount. And none of them numbers, the only number that means anything is the grant amount. The others is just numbers that I put in there to kind of show you a breakdown on how it would work.
So basically 50 some acres of work.
Yeah, 50.
Looks like somewhere between 51 and 58.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So my one question is, and we talk about indirect costs and the 10%. In all these grants, do you want indirect costs?
Well, what have you been doing?
Well, before, if the grant was below 100,000, the county didn't take indirect costs. If it was over 100,000, we took the indirect costs. The thing about indirect costs at 10%, let's say on this grant we get 2 contractors. We split the unit. We give them each a certain amount of acres. Well, as soon as that contractor reaches $25,000, we cannot pull any indirect cost on those contractors. So let's say you had 2, so we could get up to $5,000 in indirect cost. But after that, whatever's left there is left setting there until the end. And then what they do with what's left over is they put it back in the pool to do more work.
So is it working the way you've been doing it? Is there any reason to change?
It has. I just want you to understand how it works, and because there's been a couple times we've had a lot of discussion on the indirect costs and why we're not getting more.
Okay, the indirect costs are now that's the clerk's department, right? Is that what we're talking about?
Indirect costs, I don't know how they negotiated the indirect costs. I don't know what was added into it, but there's probably time that money probably covers the wages for like Melissa and whoever else has to deal with the
Paying out the
invoices and whatever I spend out of the account with my own invoices for like getting my check service or whatever. It would cover that. What it didn't cover in the past is any, like, I could actually put my office rent into that, but that wasn't negotiated in it, so the office rent was always an extra.
Okay.
But just wanted to kind of make sure you
Well, it'd be
understand.
an advantage to having that money versus the county paying for some things, right? Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah. The county would get, like I said, if it was 2 contracts, they'd get the total of $5,000 after each contractor made the $25,000 in wages. I don't know how they come up with that, but that's some formula that federals.
Okay, so it's the federal government's coming up with that
Mhm.
formula. And then you're saying you only get 5,000 up front if you had two of them. But if you had one of them, you get 2,500.
Right.
So, and then you wouldn't be able to get the indirect cost until the end.
And basically, when it comes to the end and there's any leftover,
Yep.
it just goes back into the pot to do more work.
So use it or lose it.
Yeah.
Okay.
One thing that they don't like to do on these grants is turn any money back. And so there's been times where we've had to come up with little tiny projects to spend, just a little bit of money, so we were putting any money back into it.
Okay.
Okay. Any further questions from the board? Or any recommendations or suggestions? Like, Bill, at this point, are you suggesting that we probably just keep it the way it has been with indirect costs? Or are you suggesting a change?
I think I think we should probably keep it the same with the indirect cost. I just wanted you to get to know where and how it's formulated and what happens. So if somebody says, well, how come we're not getting this money? You'll know.
Okay.
Then if you, as you look through the paperwork or whatever, if you get time later on the day and you're looking through there and you got questions, just send me an email or call me or whatever, and I'll answer them.
Okay.
One other question. Before I send the budget and that to start the MOU, do you want to see the numbers?
I'd appreciate it if you'd at least email them.
Okay.
So we could see what just so we
Yeah.
keep track of the process.
Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah. Okay. So it sounds like you don't really need any direct action from us other than that we all understand and we're waiting for the MOU.
Yeah, and once I get this paperwork in, then we will. It usually takes a month before we see the MOU.
Okay.
And then once we have that, I'll schedule another meeting with Sydney, and then we can sit down and go through it.
Okay.
Okay.
And then if you agree, you can sign it. If you don't, we can change whatever we need to change.
Okay.
And that way it keeps us, from looking like we're.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Any questions from the public?
Did you say you can get wages out of that grant? Or
For myself, yes.
for yourself, do you do that?
On most of them, yes.
Okay. Because Title III, can be used for the sheriff's office too.
Right.
So,
Yeah, but you got to be careful on what
Right.
you spend it on.
right. Yeah, I've looked it up. Yeah. But they can get some.
Yeah.
Okay. That's it.
Okay. Anything further today?
Nope.
I guess next step is we'll see the numbers and then we'll see the MOU.
Right.
Okay. Anything further from the commission?
Nope.
All right, then thank you, Bill, and this meeting is adjourned.